in the book of Genesis, from about the 30th chapter and several of the following chapters, and read the entire life of this biblical character and of this one of the fathers of the nation of Israel. I think that there is something about his life that we would do well to think about. I elected to do this upon talking with a few people recently, many of whom are well-known people and high churchmen, some of them not necessarily preachers, but leading churchmen and women who do not even know a Bible story. And that is pathetic, isn't it? No wonder we have so much trouble with folk in church. They know so little about it. So little not only about the church, but, Dr. Thomas, of the Bible of the church. First of all, Jacob stand out in Hebrew history, as I have previously suggested, as one of the fathers of the nation. He is venerated and esteemed today for his contribution to Israel as a nation. He made contributions not only to the religious experience of Israel as a nation, but several basic things about the national and political life of the nation was originated, according to the record, by Jacob. And much about him and his personality, his views, his thinking have been preserved down through the centuries by this peculiar people. The first thing I want you to think about Jacob is that he had an early vision of God. An early vision of God. Now, this is not to say that Jacob was not strictly human, because he was. He was very human. In a lot of respects, too human. Well, although he had a vision of God, there was a lot of things about him in his early life that he would have done well to have gotten rid of immediately. For his very name suggests a trickster, a deceiver, a supplanter. You understand? A man of extreme selfishness and self-centeredness. Well, I think that we can cite a few incidents that will set that fact apart, and that is from the early childhood of this young man who finally became a giant in the history of the nation and a stalwart and a champion of Israelite cause. He was selfish to the point that he contemplated continuously and connived and conspired how he could trick his own brother out of his birthright. Not only his birthright, but to succeed his father as the priest and leader of the family. But along with that went a blessing that was usually bequeathed by the father. So Jacob was not content to trick his brother and get the birthright, but also he wanted the blessing that his father gave. Finally, to the eldest son. And of course, when he saw his brother, when he found him at his weakest point, when he found him available for attack, hungry and faint, he made him swear and pledge that he would relinquish all claim to the birthright and turn it over to him. And then, in league with his mother, when his father decided that the sun of life was sinking low, time was plowing furrows in his face, and his eyes had grown weary of seeing, and his body was bending under the weight of many years. Said, now, my son, go out and bring me some of the dish that you usually kill the wild game and prepare for me, and let me give you the blessing before I die. Mother said, get busy now. Said to Jacob, her favorite, get busy. Your dad is planning to give out that blessing today. You come in and get it. I'm going to disguise you and make you hairy like your brother, and I'm going to fix you up that you can trick your father. And you know the story of how he came by when his brother returned after the father had given the blessing. When his brother returned and found a new trick that had been pulled on him, he became angry and he had to leave home. But you know, there are a lot of Jacobs around yet. All of them are not dead. There's some more tricksters around. There's some more double crossers around. Some more deceivers around. There are some more people who feel that they can live off their wits by taking advantage of other people. But as I said today, the thing that was outstanding about the Joseph story is true also in relation to the Jacob story. To dedicate oneself to the highest good that he knows, to hold on to the highest ideal that he knows, and to never compromise certain principles. Reward and victory and success may be slow for you, but victory is surely yours if you do not allow your spirit, your ambition, your faith to be destroyed under the impact of these trials and crises. Jacob got into a lot of things that he could have avoided, but for the fact that he himself was always practicing trickery. And I want you to understand, when you set out in life to take advantage of people, ultimately you're going to be found out. And people will start dealing with you as you deal with people. I wonder if you know what I'm talking about tonight. And so, one night on his way to his uncle's home, one night leaving Canaan, en route to Assyria, one night while traveling upon the desert alone, feeling condemned and feeling that he had done wrong, because if one has any conception of God, he cannot mistreat his brother without feeling it and knowing it and realizing and being condemned by it himself. Pray with me if you please. He laid down, and obviously he was not acquainted with the omnipresence of God. Obviously, he did not understand that God was everywhere. He had a dream that night while his head was lying on a rock, that he saw a ladder that extended from heaven to earth, and that angels were ascending and descending up and down that ladder to where he was. And when he awakened, he became afraid. He said, "This is an awful place. This must be the gates of heaven. Surely the Lord is in this place." And I knew it not. Now, Lord, since I know you're here, and I know that you know what I've done, and I know you understand why I'm out here alone, I'd like to enter into a covenant with you. I'm alone. I'm away from home. I can't go back soon. My brother is out to get me. If you take care of me while I'm gone, if you keep me in the way that I go, if you protect me, a tenth of all that I get a hold to, I'll give back to you. But you see, one experience apparently is not enough to strip us of those things that we find ourselves shedding as we go up through life. Jacob didn't stop simply because he had this early vision of God. He was still a little tricky. He got down there with his uncle, you know. Of course, his uncle was tricky with him. And his uncle, after making him marry the oldest daughter first, said, "Now," Jacob said, "Well, it's time me getting out on my own." His uncle said, "Well, what I need you. You've been a blessing to me since you've been here. And it seems that some kind of deal could be worked out where you could stay with me a little longer." Jacob, being conniving, he said, "Well, now, I'll tell you what you do. If you will, this will be my wages. If you will just give me all the spotted cows." You know you don't have many spotted cows in your herd. If you just give me all the spotted cows, I will accept that as just compensation for my service. But Jacob wasn't contented to simply let time and nature take its course with the spotted cows. He found some branches, green branches, and trimmed rings around them, stripes around them, and put those striped sticks in the water where the cows had to drink. Designed, obviously, to influence the conception of those cows and create more spotted cattle in his uncle's herd. Then one day when he had enough, he decided after the old man left, he'd get everything and get both of his daughters and all of his children and get all of his spotted cattle and leave in the absence of the old man. The old man came and found that he had taken up root and branch and left. He set out after him. But having caught up with him, he decided, well, the boy has been with me for 14 years and a little longer. He is my son-in-law. He's married to 2 of my daughters. And all of these children are my grandchildren, so I can't hurt him. I guess I'll have to compromise with him. I tell you what we'll do. Let's set up here a little memorial of the dissolution of this grievance. This stone will be a memorial to our compromise. And may the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. But you see, there's a danger. There's a danger. You see, you may get away. You may get by being a trickster. ultimately your tricks will catch up with you. I say you may get by, but you haven't gotten away. Now, he'd run away from Esau, and he'd gotten off from the vengeance of his father-in-law. But you see, his past was catching up with him. He was ready to go back home, and he couldn't get back home without meeting up and accounting with Esau. And so this night, as he approached the banks of Jabbok, out there near a mountainside called Pedia, he decided to tell his servants, I want you to run on ahead of me and tell my brother I'm on my way home. I'd like to come home. Tell him I've been successful, that I have many camels, many sheep, many goats, and I went across the brook here with only my staff, but I'm on my way back with 2 men. Tell him that. And I'm willing to settle up with him. But the servant came running back saying, Master, your brother is on his way to meet you with 400 men. But he hasn't given me any word of consolation to you. And so, my brothers and sisters, Jacob realized now the haunts and experiences of the past were crowding in on him. Realized now some of the battles that he had ducked in the past, he had to face now. He realized now the challenge of life was looming up in the personality of his brother. He had to meet his brother. And so he organized his servants in one band with his cattle in front of them, and then his maidens, his handmaidens in another group, and his wife Leah in another group behind them, and Rachel and his son Joseph behind her and her children, and decided to put all of these between him and his brother, to put all of these between him and his past. But my brothers and sisters, why, if you have not dealt squarely and faithfully in life, if your dealings have not been honest, somewhere along the line, life demands that you must pay off and that you must reckon one way or another. Oh Lord, and so the ghost of the past was crowding in on Jacob. And when he organized all of these bands between him and the fury and vengeance of his brother, he went on over to this mountainside and said, now Lord, I know I've done wrong. I'm going to be out here all night long. Yes, my children out there across the brook, and my wives and family are on the other side. And I've delayed my crossing to talk with you before the sunrise in the morning and before I meet my brother. For tomorrow I must come face to face with Esau. Oh Lord, now I know I must face myself. Oh Lord, I've been avoiding this a long time, and I've been compromising with myself a long time. I've been creating excuses for myself a long time. I've been refusing to look myself squarely in the face a long time. But now I know the time has come. Oh Lord, I've deceived my brother, I've deceived my father, and I've double-crossed my uncle, and I've done wrong with everybody that I came in contact. Oh Lord, I'm getting older now, and I have wives and children. Oh Lord, I realize now But if I ever going to straighten up, I've got to do it now. Oh, Lord. And Lord, I know you ought to read the prayer sometime as you read that passage. I'm not deserving, he said, of the least of all your blessing. No, I'm not. Oh, Lord. But Lord, please. Lord, please. Can't you envisage him out there on that dark mountainside that night wrestling with angels? Oh, Lord. You know, when you read about Jacob wrestling with that angel, well, Jacob was wrestling with Jacob as much as he was wrestling with an angel. Yes, he was. He was wrestling with himself. He was wrestling with his conscience. He was wrestling with his disposition. He was wrestling with his character. Yes, he was. Oh, Lord. But all night long, and I'm going to let this alone. It's a little too hot for this. All night long, he took an inventory. All night long, he turned his heart, as it were, outside in. All night long, he examined his character and his disposition. All night long, he laid himself bare before God. Yes, he did. Oh, Lord. But Jacob said all in the morning, when he wouldn't give up, the angel blessed him and changed his name and told him his name would no more be Jacob, a signal, a symbol of a trickster, but his new name would be Israel, a prince of power with both God and man. Oh, Lord. And I want to say to you tonight, in my conclusion, you ought to face yourself. Yes, you should. There are a lot of things about us all that we ought to look at. There are a lot of things about us all that we ought to face. There are a lot of things about us all that we ought to admit. Oh, Lord. You know there are wrong things about us all that we do not admit even to ourselves. We ought to face ourselves. One night you ought to get down on your knees on the lonely mountainside of prayer and talk to God about yourself. Oh, Lord, wrestle with him all night long. Wrestle with him. Struggle with him. Struggle with the demon that's in you. Struggle with all of those evil spirits that are within you. Oh, Lord, tell the Lord. Just tell the Lord. Oh, tell the Lord. Oh, just tell the Lord. Oh, tell the Lord. I want to be a better child. I know I've been wrong. I know I've even thought wrong. I know my whole outlook on life was wrong. Oh, Lord. Oh, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, I want to be a better child. Yeah. Strong where I'm weak. Prop me up where I'm leaning. Yeah. Build me up where I've been torn down. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Lord. Yeah. Lord. Lord, have my life. Lord, have my heart. Lord. Yeah. Make out of me what you want me to be. Lord, Lord. Oh. Yes, sir. I wish I had somebody here praying with me. Well, if you go to him and really face yourself, he'll make everything all right.